Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. This is your Friday crypto market update. Of course, last night we had the debate between President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump.
With the COVID, with dealing with everything we have to do with,
And it is so rare. Listen, as an American, okay, it is on one hand, absolutely amazing the quality of entertainment that I get from what should be the most serious political situation on earth.
The total and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
And on the other hand, it is deeply depressing to watch such a debate. So despite significant fundraising from cryptocurrency initiatives, Joe Biden nor Donald Trump mentioned cryptocurrency once during the debate. And this had kind of been thought to be maybe one of the big issues. But I think people in cryptocurrency need to be a little bit more realistic and realize that there are much bigger problems on most Americans' minds than cryptocurrency. The economy, abortion rights, immigration, those are the things that people really, really care about. Of course, those are going to be the topics that these two men are going to debate over. Not to mention foreign policy and, of course, the current president's mental capabilities or lack thereof. 3 cryptocurrency super PACs raised a total of $202.8 million and donated about $94 million so far to influence this election cycle, which is of course not an insignificant amount, yet not a single mention. Now, Trump has taken a pro-crypto stance, even meeting with Bitcoin miners and saying that he is going to push back on Biden's crackdown on cryptocurrency. Of course, it does seem, and a lot of people are speculating, that Joe Biden is softening his stance towards cryptocurrency. But if the SEC enforcement actions that we've been seeing are really any indication of what we can expect from his administration moving forward, I would not call that softening up whatsoever. Now, of course, the other nominee, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., is very pro-crypto, but unfortunately he did not qualify for whatever their rules or guidelines were. By the way, what kind of rules are those? 2 minutes to answer a question and 1 minute for a rebuttal. I can't even really flesh out a thought that I've studied a lot about in 2 minutes. Like, who would agree to this? Anyways, the next debate is scheduled for September 10th, with of course the election coming in on November 5th. But we're seeing lots of content that this is it. I have no idea what all these headlines are. I have no idea what all these streamers are making content about. I have no idea. It doesn't make sense to me what these content creators, I mean, it's just clickbait, like all these thumbnails with Trump and crypto to 100,000, Bitcoin to 100,000. It doesn't make any sense. Crypto was not mentioned at all last night. Like, what are you talking about? Okay? And it's very easy. Listen. You have to understand that presidents will say whatever they need to say to get into power. All right? Period. And so it's easy to make promises and then completely walk back on them. So how pro-crypto is Trump? Probably not that pro-crypto. He's a businessman, so he just looks at things logically and what's in his own best interest. So he sees that cryptocurrency does seem to be an issue that affects swing states. So of course he's going to come out as pro that. Meanwhile, Biden, the established incumbent, has all the political pressure of individuals that are very anti-crypto that are in his cabinet, that are in the current offices. And so he has to kind of toe the line and stick up to that. Plus, he probably doesn't even understand what Ethereum is or how it works. Probably neither does Trump, so take that as you will. In a little bit more positive news, North Carolina has voted down their ability to get into bed with federal CBDCs. They are just waiting for the governor to sign the law into effect. And it passed almost unanimously with 109 votes. If this is signed into law, North Carolina will be prohibited from either testing or participating in any federal provided central bank digital currency. Now, the senator in question, particularly Brad Overcash, say that the reason they stand behind this bill is because essentially they don't trust the Fed. They would like the Fed to not necessarily be in control of the monetary system, and that any federal CBDC would undermine the United States dollar, which would of course be terrible for America and for the American economy. In addition to this, Majority Whip Tom Emmer has also proposed a piece of legislation that would actually restrict and or block the federal developments of CBDCs due to concerns of their ability to have So much surveillance, so much power, this command and control. We do not want to centralize more and more power with the federal government. We need to decentralize the power. That is what Bitcoin stands for. That is why we are in this. This is the philosophical reason for what we do and why we believe in this space. In addition to this, of course, VanEck filing for Solana ETF has caused a minor spike in Solana's price, so watch out, shorters. And with spot Ethereum ETF approvals coming in as early as July 4th, potentially watch for a price reaction. Turning to the markets today, by the way, did you guys know that you can read my cryptocurrency market update in full on our website every single day? Of course, I do post a briefer version to Twitter, and of course, I do tend to go into more detail on certain things here on the show, but I also leave out some things that I kind of forget to do when I'm under the cameras. CrackingCryptocurrency.com. I have left the link in the description for today's market update if you want to go into more depth on some things that I cover here today. And of course, I post a much more exclusive analysis with an executive summary and actual trade setups for the Crypto Trading Academy members. But overall, Bitcoin is continuing its pronounced consolidation between 60,600 and 62,450. The current and last 3 daily candles have been inside bar candles, which is just a candlestick formation, confirming and contributing to the idea of this being a pronounced consolidation. What do we see after consolidation? We typically see a decisive or larger movement in one direction. Now, we can see sellers stepping in with more force than they have exhibited at all during this range. We also have a potential cross under from the time transformation indicator. Now, on 11 of the 12 past occurrences on the 12-hour time frame, when this has occurred, it has led to a further price decline of 2 to 5%. Analyzing the volume profile, we can also see that Bitcoin has just simply traded down to the bottom of the high volume node range, the bottom of our current consolidation range, and we have now wicked down into the first low volume node zone. This is actually what I called for and expected in yesterday's crypto market update, expecting that long liquidations would be swept before any, if one were to come, significant move to the upside were to occur. As you can see, price wicked down and bounced right from that first green box territory. I know it might seem like I just drew that to be convenient, but if you go and look at the timestamp of when I actually posted my morning crypto update, and the Twitter thread that I posted this morning, this was before that move occurred. I expected that price would bounce from that green box. So if you're not subscribed, I don't know why not. Here we can see with a little bit more clarity exactly what we're looking for. Bears are currently trying to push down and break the range. We did have buyers buy up that value zone as I expected would happen. And what is going to be decisive today? Of course, we can get aberrant price behavior over the weekend, but what's going to be decisive, whether it happens today or whether we have to wait until Monday, is going to be whether Bitcoin is able to successfully reclaim 61,300 convincingly. That has to occur on a Friday or a Monday, because I'm not really paying attention to anything that occurs over the weekend. We can oscillate wildly because there's completely different traders and market makers in charge. But Friday or Monday, we do need to have reclaimed 61,300 if the bulls are going to show that they are going to keep price at this current low, that we are not going to descend further to retest liquidity at 60,000 or 59,000. If we're unable to do that, then it is very likely that we will be descending down here at the very least to retest liquidity in this 59,600 zone. And this zone actually stretches from 59,800 down to 59,000, about 350. I'll show you guys on the footprint chart all the data that backs that up here in just a minute. Let's turn now to the liquidation heat map. And exactly as I expected yesterday, price did reject from the highs as we were pushing up. Everyone was talking about breakout trades to the upside. No, man, we swept short liquidity, as you can see, and then we've moved down and completely swept out most of the long liquidity. This is, guys, we're not making decisive moves yet, okay? The buyers haven't stepped in with enough strength. Yes, it is the second day of positive ETF inflow showing that there is some buyer conviction here. But right now, if you're not able to adapt and trade in these short-term environments where we're just going from liquidation zone to liquidation zone, back and forth again, deviation, liquidation zone, then you need to be sitting on your hands or just be taking longer-term positions in line with your conviction and with your analysis. Because I'm seeing so many traders getting smoked right now trying to buy every large green candle on the 15-minute time frame, when if you're not good at doing that, my God. And the only reason you're on the 15-minute time in the first place is because you kept getting smoked on the 4-hour time frame and the daily time frame. You need to sit down and adjust your strategy, and you don't jump into something that you're not good at just because the market is not in your favor right now. Do you know what you do when the market's not in your favor? You stop trading temporarily, or you trade a different asset. You're not going to be good at trading Bitcoin all the time. And recognizing that and having the strength and discipline to just step back and wait until the market is favorable to your style of trading, boom. Because the traders who are active right now and who are profiting, they probably weren't doing much when Bitcoin was trending except holding long or short positions. Okay? Right now, the market maker traders are in steam. So as we can see, we do have short liquidations on Binance stacking up here around 61,440 and 61,679. As I said, we need to clear 61,300 quite convincingly, and then potentially we'll start making a push for these short liquidations. But there is still a lot of pain below us, ladies and gentlemen. And again, we've seen sellers step in with quite a bit of strength today. So I would be quite cautious if you're taking long positions right now with very tight stops. Be very careful of that. Turning to the footprint chart, again, here we can see the justification for the game plan that I've laid out. And again, I've put this in much more detail to the Academy members. But essentially, what do we see here? We see on this decline, Bitcoin did come down here and sweep this last aggressive bid imbalance that we had in this range. And the only other aggressive bid imbalance that we have since the low is all the way down here at 59,650 in that zone right there, which is why I've centered my last kind of entry zone here that I would be interested in looking for a bounce from that zone. The other zone we just tapped into, this is the zone that I highlighted this morning, of course, for the Academy members first, then of course publicly on the website. So I am expecting to see just a logical bounce from here, likely up to this first or second purple box territory, hitting these short liquidations, but these are the levels that Bitcoin has to close above convincingly to make me believe that we are either going to actually attempt to break out of this range, or that we are at least going to come up here and target this short side liquidity here before a secondary movement back down. Solana has been very interesting to trade. I entered and called a Solana short signal yesterday for the Academy members. That is now fully closed out. We did enter here about 148, and we took our first TP at 145, and then I just called for the secondary closure here at about 143 it was when I actually got to the markets this morning. Bigger picture here, Solana certainly has had a nice rally off of the VanEck ETF news. That catalyst is probably pulled for right now. We found resistance at the 200 exponential moving average. We are now pulling back into this low volume node territory. If you were wanting to bid up Solana, this would likely be the area I would be looking to enter. I would not want to see Solana be closing below 137 right now at this point in time, because again, cryptocurrency is weird. It's all about momentum, and traders are very jumpy. They're very quick to get out of positions. They want to see instant gratification. And this is why you see meme coins rally and rally and rally and rally and rally, because as it continues to rally, everybody and their brother continues to jump in and jump in and jump in and jump in and bid at higher prices, a bit of higher prices. And that's what supports a bullish rally, continuing to push prices up. But once something starts to move up a little bit and a bunch of people buy in and it pulls back, they all jump out, and that disincentivizes newer buyers from jumping in, and why it's harder to see things rally after they pull back a lot. But anyways, we found resistance in this high volume node, pulling back down. I would expect that if one were to want to enter long here, the next step up for Solana would likely be potentially up here to 164, but I would likely be booking 50% profits at 156 with an entry right now, just in the short term. Everything is very short term right now, ladies and gentlemen, because if Bitcoin breaks down, it's going to be a long consolidation before we end up actually being able to push up and get back into the euphoria phase of the market. Ethereum similarly made a nice push up, found resistance at the very bottom of this high volume node in between the 21 and 55 exponential moving average. I will expect that we'll consolidate around the 200 EMA, although I look and I see low volume node, where is price likely going to go? Probably back to 3,300 over the next few days, if not hours. BNB continuing to grind down. Here we have a nice descending channel on the 12-hour time frame. Very nice descending channel pattern. Any attempts to break out, which of course the 21 exponential moving average is now aligning with that trend line and acting as our dynamic level of resistance. Again, we can see price pushed up here, found liquidity and ran stops in this low volume node and is pushing back down. Next downside target for BNB would be around 547 before we could see a bounce. But again, we could see the 200 simple moving average here act as support. It is long-term support, okay? So again, we could see again just price come down here to 562.50 and then attempt to push back up. But breaking above this 21 exponential moving average, or more specifically around $585, is very critical for BNB to generate any kind of upside momentum after our downslide right now. Now, TON is a coin that I've been talking about a lot. TON is a very interesting coin for me. I would just really like to short TON as a hedge against the market, but it is in an uptrend and I am a trend following trader. One of my very simple rules and what keeps me from losing money most of the time is if something's in an uptrend, I don't short it, right? I just don't. I don't care how attractive the setup looks. I don't care how much money I could make. I don't care how many people are doing it. I don't care. I just don't do it. I determine my trend based on the higher time frames. If something is in an uptrend, which TON clearly is on any time frame you want to look at it, it's in an uptrend. So I'm not shorting it. Although I'd really like to. It looks really good. Oh, okay, but TON, if we do end up breaking the uptrend around $7, then I will likely potentially short on retests back to this trend line. We could also see a dip down to the 200 simple moving average, and that's probably where I'd actually bid TON up because it's in an uptrend and I'd buy support, blah, blah, blah. Polkadot, like most of the other coins, has had a nice little bounce, finding support at the top of this high volume node shelf, pushing up through this low volume node very quickly, and finding resistance at the bottom of this high volume node shelf. I would expect Polkadot to pull back, most likely here right to about the higher $6, the lower $6, like $6, well, just $6. Let's say $6 here. And then potentially we could make a push for the 200 simple moving average. We can see we did break the descending trend line that was acting as resistance, pretty much synonymous with the 21 exponential moving average here as well. So I'd like to see a nice pullback here to about $6 and then a nice potentially advance back up to closer to $7 if we are going to continue any of these bullish movements. Finally, Arbitrum, not really able to gain any momentum yet. We're still stuck down here around 80 cents, but if we do push and break above the 21, I would be looking for price to go up to 90 cents, probably pull back to 80, and then make a push for $1 is what I'd like to see Arbitrum do over the next few weeks. So much more we could talk about, so many more coins, but the time is limited, ladies and gentlemen. Again, as I talked about yesterday, this is the time for capital preservation. Yes, there are going to be lots of potential trades on the table. Yes, the market is moving all the time, but what you should be focusing on is keeping your mind clear, staying true to yourself, and actually focusing on building a technical strategy that you can repeat over and over again to actually start growing your trading account consistently and efficiently. You're not gonna get there if you only focus on these wild cryptocurrency 5, 10x gains. It's not 2016, it's not 2020. The market cycle is different. You could spend thousands of hours poring over all the white papers, doing all the sentiment research, doing all the fundamental analysis, trying to pick the winners, and you're probably still gonna pick wrong, all right? Or you're still gonna pick underperformer. I'm biased here, but I'm a huge advocate of technical trading, because that is something that is measurable, that you can determine if you're doing well or bad, that gives you faster results, and will actually get you closer to achieving your financial goals. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to receive more crypto market updates like these, make sure to like and subscribe and share this on your social feeds. It helps the channel grow more than you could possibly imagine. I want to thank all of the YouTube subscribers and particularly the channel members for all of their generous support. Thank you guys so much. You are the reason I continue to make these videos every single day. We will be releasing part 2 of our new series, Technical Analysis for Crypto Traders, How to Read a Candlestick Chart, this weekend. So look forward to that, and I will see you guys on Monday. Trade safely. Oh, I almost forgot to mention, of course, the Crypto Trading Academy is going live on Monday. I have spent almost half a year preparing this thing for you. It is the culmination of my life's work. Obviously, I have been running my own private group for almost 5 years now, and I've mentored and helped thousands of individuals across the world build cryptocurrency technical trading strategies, helping them understand and implement risk management, helping them with their trading psychology, with their emotional discipline. These are all the things I love to teach, the things that are the most vital parts of my life, and I'm excited to share them with you. The wait list is still open. The link is in the description if you are interested. Come trade with us if you are serious about making cryptocurrency trading a serious part of your life. Other than that, of course, MEXC users, you know they've kicked y'all off. KYC, come over to Fairdesk. KYC and VPN-free access for anybody who wants to trade cryptocurrency futures. It's where I'm currently trading as well. Links in the description. I'll see you guys on Monday.